a great tool that I used in my journey. I used to call it turbo exposure, but in a way it's turbo allowing, right? So it's like a blitz of exposing yourself constantly within a short period of time. Bam, 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 right? You're literally triggering a stress response on purpose, right? And then when it gets stressed and you get activated, right? You're activating yourself. You allow what's there, right? So it's like, and you're like, and then you go, okay, let's allow this. And then you do it again. Okay, we're going to allow this over and over and over again. So the way I did it was, because, right, if you're doing the pillars every day, right, you're also dealing with walking up a mountain in flip-flops while you're trying to do the work. And it's very challenging because you'll be dealing with looping thoughts. Maybe you're dealing with also things that crossed over from yesterday to today, right? So maybe you got in a situation with your partner yesterday, or something fell on your lap, because the universe always likes to throw curveballs, especially when we're going through this journey. It seems like times 10, right? So, right, in the morning, I did a meeting with myself, get organized, feel the feelings. But then there'll be, the small alarms, the daily menu of alarms that change from Tuesday to Thursday. We have the big alarms that kind of hang over us for for me, it was 3 years, right? Bit by bit, allowing every day, drip by drip. Wait, I can probably do that better. Wait, I got this one. Right? Drip by drip, you're allowing. And some of these big alarms, they hang around, but they take time to dissolve. Right? For me, I had maybe 5 big ones, mother alarms, that took the whole 3 years to dissolve into nothingness and neutralize. But you're also dealing with these smaller alarms, right, that take your attention for maybe a week at a time or a day at a time. And that can be challenging when you're trying to focus on your visuals or elevating or walk and talks or just engaging in life, right? Trying to do all the pillars. It's very difficult when you're getting hijacked constantly by these other alarms. When you use these tools, when you're dealing with a lot of these thoughts that keep hijacking you, right? They're cock blocking you from doing the work. And the most important part of this journey is for you guys to do the work. That's why I say in the beginning, use the coping mechanisms, right? You're breaking the rules. Technically, you're breaking the rules of the mind-body space, right? Because they don't want you to do any coping mechanisms or avoidance behaviors. But honestly, in the beginning, you need to. If you got to do the stretches for your pelvic floor, if you got to take whatever supplement or blah, 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 so some of that symptom goes from a 10 to a 3, do it. If you need to avoid certain things, do it. If you need to activate the vagus nerve for a little bit, do it. But for now, you got to do whatever you got to do so that you're focused and doing the work every day. That's the important part. So I say, use what you got, whatever you need, so that you do the work. So what you do, right? Got some hair in my mouth. What you do is you take whatever's alarm, thought, sensation, feeling, new symptom that is bothering you. Usually if it's a new symptom, you get thoughts that tag team you, right? They join forces and go, now we got him for today. We got his attention for Tuesday. You'll notice that, right? The thing that bugged you on Tuesday, when you allowed it, let it do its thing. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you might have a new alarm that comes up, a new thought that gets your attention. And you think, what about that thought I had on Tuesday? For some reason, I'm not afraid of that anymore. It's not getting my attention. I couldn't care less, right? But this new thing seems to get my attention, seems to be the most important thing in the world right now, in the universe. This one thing is all that matters. And you'll notice that things that are really itty-bitty on Monday that don't even exist, on a Tuesday could feel so intense and so scary. And you're noticing this going, why is this feeling? I know this is nonsense. I know this is crazy. I'm allowing, right? Just be aware this is going to happen. Remember this, me telling you this is going to happen. It's exaggerated. It blows it out of proportion because it's desperate at getting your attention. So it's going to blow shit out of proportion, right? but we allow it anyway. We let it do its thing and remember it, right? This is where we grow experience, history with our symptoms, thoughts, sensations, feelings, whatever it is, whatever you're dealing with, X, Y, Z. Remember it when it passes. Remember it while you're going through it, because when it comes back, you will have history, right? That you can resort back to and go, hey, I remember I was dealing with this. It lasted a couple of days. It went away. And I remember a couple of days later, I didn't care about it. Now it's kind of back and it's freaking me out, but it's smokes and mirrors. I see what you're doing, right? I see what you're doing, brain, alarm system. You're getting my attention. You're doing whatever you need to do to get my attention to these alarms because we're in danger. So with the turbo exposure allowing, this is what you do. You get whatever is bugging you. Small alarm that day, right? I call it small alarm because it shifts throughout the week. To me, that's small. A big alarm is something that hangs around for a year or two or three or the whole journey, right? So the small alarm, you're dealing with the thought, the menu, the flavor of the menu of that week. It's a rotating menu, constantly rotates, right? So it could be something to do with a thought about a situation or a symptom. All right, so what do? I'm gonna give you a bad example of what I did. I would take that because it's constantly hijacking me, getting my attention, right? And I go, okay, Lemby, we had a meeting with ourselves. Now we're gonna take this thought, right? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna talk about it in detail in a small type of paragraph with descriptions, detailed descriptions. The goal is to totally activate yourself and put yourself in a stress response, right? But what we're gonna do is you're gonna have a little paragraph, you can write it down so that you remember it, right? Put it in a notebook, right? And go, all right, I'm gonna make a bad example so it's easy to understand. I'm afraid of going into a field because I might be bitten by a bug. And it might mean I need to go on antibiotics, I have to go to the hospital, and that's freaking me out. So for some reason I got phobias of being out in a field, right? So today I got this feeling like I gotta walk the dog, I gotta do my walk and talks, but for some reason I'm scared, right? I'm scared to go walking near grass. That's no good. So we're gonna expose ourselves. We're gonna do turbo exposure, turbo allowing. Here we go. This is what we do, right? You say the script or the paragraph, describe it in detail. This is what you say, close to it. Whatever symptom it is, whatever feeling, whatever sensation that you're freaking out about, do this, right? Go in detail. All right, Limby, I'm scared, my limbic system. Limby, I'm scared to go near any sort of field because I'm afraid that some bug's gonna bite me and I'm gonna have to go to the hospital, take antibiotics, and this is gonna push me back in my journey of recovery. And you repeat it. You repeat it 20 times. The exact same thing. Go, okay, Limby, I'm afraid to go for my walks because I'm gonna be walking in a field in the grass because I take my dog for a walk and I'm gonna be bitten by some insect that I'm gonna have to take antibiotics for. I'm gonna get sick and I'm gonna have to go backwards in my journey of recovery. That's 2. 3, I'm afraid to go to the field because I feel like I'm going to be bitten by a tick or an insect that's going to make me sick. That I'm going to have to go on antibiotics. I'm going to go backwards in my recovery, right? So you keep saying that. Antibiotics, right? 4, so you're repeating it over and over and over again. Repeating it. So you're activating. You're exposing yourself, right? You're not going to like it. You're going to feel scared. You're going to feel shaky because you're opening the door, right? You're opening that door to the old programming, to that fear, and you're exposing yourself to it. So it's screaming, it's going, see the alarm screaming, you're like, right? And closing it, closing it, closing it, closing it, over and over and over again. So you repeat it 20 times, you start to sound kind of funny near the 20th time, right? And then after you did that, you sit with it. You allow whatever wants to come up because now you're activated. You're at a 10 out of 10. So keep that in mind, right? After you said it 20 times, where am I right now? Okay, I'm at a 10 out of 10. I'm activated. Okay, be activated. Feel it. Sit in the fire. Sit in the fear. Allow it. Let it do its thing. Picture it passing through your chest. Picture that energy dissolving. And then we engage. So you go back to going to the grocery store, going for a walk and talk, doing your visuals, cutting the lawn, whatever you're doing. In a couple of hours, you come back to that recording. Because I forgot to mention, record it, right? So it's in your phone, and press play. And sit there and get activated, right? This is where the turbo comes in. You're going to get hit with it because it's going to be repeated 20 times. You're going to be like, So the last session you went from a 10, you were feeling at a 10, you might came down to a 9. This session, you go back to a 10 probably, right? And then you might come back down to an 8, right? So then after you're done that, you go engage, right? You felt the alarm, you allowed it, you let it do its thing, you were activated, and then you engage, right? And usually 9 times out of 8, when I did that in the morning, just once, right? Because I'm trying to get into my visuals and it's cock blocking me. If I did that just once, it would bring the survival state down from a 10 to like a 7 or a 6, which was good enough for me to get into my visuals and do the work, right? After I did my visuals, I would continue doing the turbo exposure at lunchtime again, and again near dinner time, or maybe at 2 or 3, right? And by the end of the day or tomorrow, that triggering thought, feeling, sensation would be pretty much dead, dissolved, neutralized, right? So use this when you need it. There's times where I would use it almost every day. Because when you're in a setback, the more you do the work, the more your alarms skyrocket. Sometimes we got to use some tools of exposure, tools of getting activated to allow, right? So I could call it turbo allowing, right? It's a blitz, but this has been one of the most powerful tools that I've used so I can get on with the day, get on with the week, and continue doing the work, because at the end of the day, the most important part of this journey is for you to do the work every day and never miss a day. And we're going to have obstacles, right? Daily obstacles. And this is a tool that's going to help you make sure that you stick to the path and do the work.